Good morning. Here's me and Bella again. And I was thinking, how y'all doing today? I'm doing good. I just made a little short thanking all those great people that helped me. So y'all check some of them out. Maybe you might like them. Who knows? You don't know if you don't try sometimes. And they're good people. I love them. So today I thought I would tell you about what it was like being a 12 and 13-year-old on the farm. I got married at 16 to escape it because I really did not like the slavery I was in, and that's what it felt like, because we had to do what we had to do if we wanted to eat. I mean, Mom canned, I washed the cans. My hand was small enough to get down in the cans, so that was my job when we was canning. Breaking green beans, chopping the corn. It began in the spring. The first thing we would do is Daddy would plow up the ground, and you know he just had one horse. And he had a 6-acre piece of land that he would plow up, walking behind that plow around and around until he got the 6 acres. And that's a big piece of ground, and it was rocky. And we had to pick up the big rocks and throw them in the back of the wagon and haul them out of there every so often. But Daddy would plow that up, and then he would plant the corn. And we didn't lay it by until July. That's what you call laying it by, because we had to go up and down those rows with a hoe and hoe the weeds out of it and gather up the earth around each plant to make it grow good. And we got some good crops. But one year it didn't rain. It didn't rain. And that corn was just what they call nubbins. Nubbins. It just didn't make corn, and it wasn't even hardly good enough to feed the horses. So when I was 12 and 13 and 14 and up till 15, we did that every year. And we had other fields. Now, I'll tell you what the fun field was. The watermelon field. I mean, we raised watermelons, and they did turn out delicious. Of course, they weigh a ton because it was back in the back field. And you go pick, you have to thump them and know they're ripe, and sometimes we missed. But I'll never forget one time Norman was carrying one home, and he got right to where the gate was, and he dropped that sucker. You know what we did? We just broke it and ate it with our hands. It was delicious. So he went and got another one, I think. I don't remember. I just remember eating that broken watermelon that he dropped. Norman had it tough. Daddy was hard on Norman. He really was. He wasn't so hard on me or Phyllis or David or the rest of them, but being Norman was the oldest boy, Daddy expected too much from Norman, honestly. And one time I tell you what, Daddy built the house. And it didn't have a cross breeze. If you ever tried to sleep in a bedroom like we did, and upstairs, all those boys slept upstairs with no crosswind. They didn't have a fan. It was like a furnace up there. Norman will tell you, and Tommy and David and Aubrey, Denny, Wayne, and Mike. Aubrey's gone on. But see, I can say their names right like that. Norman, Tommy, David, Aubrey, Den, and Mike, and Wayne. I had lovely brothers, and I still do, a bunch of them, 6, and I'm the oldest. Mom always said, you have to set the example. But when I read her journal, her mother told her that because she was the oldest. Now, May, that was my mom's name, you have to set the example. So here I am. I didn't want to set no example. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to slip off to the 2-holder toilet and read my book and look at the Sears and Roebuck catalog. That Sears and Roebuck catalog had dream stuff in it. Dresses and shoes. We got 1 pair of shoes a year, kiddos. 1 pair. And you know, when we ordered our shoes, we had to set our foot on a piece of paper and draw on our foot and mail it to Sears. And that's how they knew what size to send us. Somebody had to check that. And we always got the right size. My brothers got their Rogans, which was big old heavy shoes. They got me the more lighter weight ones, but they were still heavy duty. They had to last us a year. And in the spring, we couldn't hardly wait to start going barefooted. because it felt so good to get your feet out of them old shoes. Joy! It was fun. So anyhow, we'd have the watermelons, but carrying water was quite a pill. I mean, thank God we had a cistern out front of the house. Daddy built this house where another family had lived years ago, and there was no basement, but there was a cistern. But dead animals had fallen into the cistern, and so you couldn't drink the water, but you could wash with it. So we would that's how we got our wash water. And then Daddy put barrels on the side of the house and put gutters, and that's another way we got wash water. And thank God Mom had a washing machine that she could kick her foot and start it. We didn't have no electricity. It had a motor on it, and it had a wringer. We were so glad to have a real wringer. You could run your clothes right through that sucker, and they were squeezed. Before that, we were washing in tubs like Grandma did, and with a washboard. But Mom had a dasher. Boy, it just washed them clothes. When I moved to California, and I had twins, one of the first things I bought when I got me a little money was a washing machine. Because let me tell you, you sure have a lot of diapers with twins, and they didn't have those kind that you buy in the package. I got my remote. I wish I could run that one they told me to buy. I'm going to get Tammy over here and have her help me do this one of these days, but my finger works. Anyway, I was so happy to get a washing machine because back in that day, you had to rinse your poopy diapers out in the toilet. Rinse, and flush. Not the cloth You had cloth diapers, and you had to have a whole bunch. And you know what was a blessing? Out in California, when the twins were born, Sears and Roebuck was giving free layettes to any mother that had twins. Well, I took advantage of that, and I got a lot of diapers. And I was blessed because diapers were real expensive, and I was just a Navy seaman's wife and didn't have a whole lot of money, and I wasn't making any money on the side. But I loved my babies. I thank God that he gave me twins, and those kids are going to be 70 years old this next May. Karen and Kathy, little bald-headed babies. I showed you their picture one time, didn't I? Or did I? I don't know. I can do that sometime. But I put bonnets on them, and that worked. Then everybody knew they were girls. I'd put them in a carriage and take them to Knott's Berry Farm after I got me a car. I bought me a car and learned how to drive while he was overseas. And when he came home, he did not like my car because by then I had traded, and I had got me a big old Buick. 47 Buick. It was blue. And, you know, if the battery got low on it, you just get a girlfriend to help you shove it and kick the clutch. And you was in business. Y'all don't know about that. But you could start a car if it was stick shift, which y'all don't know about that either. You had to change the gears as you drive, low, middle, and high. And it was tricky, but I learned how. Back to the farm. Anyhow, Daddy decided, he built this house, and he decided he wanted a basement under it. He said that would be good for our canned goods and everything. Now, have any of y'all ever tried to dig a basement under an existing house? Well, him and Norman did it. And Norman, I think, might have been about 12, 13 years old because I probably was around 14, 15. I don't remember for sure. But Dad he would dig that out, and then he had like a sled pull that the horse could pull and take it and dump it down over the hill. It took forever to dig that basement. But you know, he got it dug, him and Norman. I don't know how long it took, and we had a place to put our canned goods, which we had a lot of because we had a big garden and we raised a lot of stuff. You could put your potatoes down there and your canned goods, and we canned blackberries. We would go blackberry picking in around July, and I would chiggers. Do y'all know what chiggers is? They're a little insect that are on the bushes, and when they get on you, honey, you're going to be itching for 3 days. No stop. You don't get chiggers if you can help it. So I would wear Daddy's overalls. that goes down to your leg, and you tuck them in your socks, and you wear long sleeves, and you wear something around your neck in case you get into a bra and a ticker gets on you. One time I was down in Tennessee, and I went blackberry picking with my relatives down there, and I didn't have any protection, and I got chiggers on me. I couldn't hardly sleep for itching. It was awful. So we make sure we don't get chiggers when we pick blackberries. And Mom makes the best. She made the best blackberry cobbler. And she put it, and later on, when she lived in town, we still picked blackberries, but we was careful not to get chiggers. That's really a great thing to have is blackberries, because blackberry, of course, you can get them at Kmart, Walmart, and at Myers, and you can buy the blackberries, and you can make blackberry cobbler, and I make it for James sometimes. There's a recipe on the internet that is just marvelous, and it only takes 2 cups of blackberries, and I got to make that again for James, number 3. He loved it. I haven't made it lately. Just now thought about it. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you this morning because I tell you what, I just enjoy visiting with y'all. You're just easy to talk to, and I can see myself, and I don't look too bad for today. Thank you, Jesus. And my cat's here with me, keeping me company. Get up here, Bella. I get so many comments. Where you at, Bella? Come on up. I'm putting my chair up. You know, I used to have lift chairs, and this is a lift chair. And I don't need them anymore because I started taking turmeric about 2.5 years ago. Look here, Bella. And I still got it, and it'll lift me up and down, but don't really need it. I can get up and down just fine. Turmeric is a miracle of God. Another one that the Lord, He leads, guides, and directs us. And when it said turmeric on my glucosamine and chondroitin, I researched what it was. And it helps arthritis. And here I am, 90. I still have the results. You can see it in my fingers. Before I found turmeric, because I was taking Advil often for the pain. Not now. It's a blessing. That's another miracle of God as far as I'm concerned, and y'all know that. I tell you what, He goes before us and makes the crooked places straight. Now, it's in the Bible, and you can look it up, really and truly. And I love His Word. When I was out in California, I slept with my Bible, and when I would get lonely and scared, I would just open my Bible and start reading His promises, where He says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And there was nobody there but me and the Lord. And you lonely people, try it. See that the Lord won't meet you there, because there's a comfort in the word of the Lord. And God's word is faithful. And I have proved it over and over, folks. I know it's real. And He's going to go with me through the valley of the shadow of death. When my mother-in-law was dying, and I was there with her, and she wasn't that old, but she had had a stroke, and she had another stroke. And I was out at the hospital with her, and I was holding her hand, and she said, could you quote me a little scripture? And I started quoting the 23rd Psalm. As we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. And I quoted it to her, and she was a sweet little old hillbilly woman, and she said, them are mighty purity words. She didn't say pretty like everybody else. She said, them are mighty purity words. And those were her comforting words as she went to be with Jesus. And she went wonderfully well. And you know, she went with a smile on her face. I was there. So if you go with Jesus, it can be like that for us senior citizens, I think. Well, it was for her. But it's up to the Lord, and I trust Him. Whatever happens, happens. I say that all the time. It's in His hands. I do the best I can with what I got. And y'all do the best you can with what you got. What else can we do? Enjoy. Make it a wonderful day, and think on whatsoever things are lovely and good. And if there be any profit, think on those things. Don't dwell on bad things. Don't fill your mind with crap. My Aunt Mary, who passed away about 2 years ago, she said, I don't sit around and think about the bad things in life. I think about the good things we've had. and it's been good. And I had a cousin call me yesterday, and we sat and talked on the phone and laughed about some things about that cousin of mine. It was her husband, and you should hear their love story. He's gone on to glory, and he was 25 years older than her, and her name's Carolyn, and she don't do anything techie. Her phone is a flip phone, and she's a lot younger than me. But my cousin J.C. Ayers met her when on a bus, and they just fell madly in love, and they got married. And her family and his family, well, they disowned them for a while, but then they all accepted them back, except for her daughter, which never forgave her. And she can't do anything about it. But things like that happen in life. But she don't let it keep her down. She thinks on the good things. And we laughed and carried on about, I told y'all about JC when he was 13 and I was about 6. And he got a BB gun. And he came to Grandma's and he was going to kill birds. He says, I'm going to kill me some birds. I said, no, please don't kill no birds. I probably told y'all this, but it was an impression on me that he made, that he was going to kill all them birds. And I was telling his wife about it. She's a sweet widow lady now. I said, you know, I didn't realize till later that there was not a chance that he could kill a bird with a BB gun. And she said, well, you know, he never did want to hunt. I said, well, maybe it's because he can't shoot. Good. She said he never did have any. I said, I know he did that day. I was there. And we had a good laugh. So think about whatever things are good. And you know, laughter, they say in the Bible, doeth good like a medicine. And that's the truth. So we need to chuckle once in a while and have a sense of humor. My second husband, Lord forgive him, he's already gone. But you know, he didn't have a sense of humor. My first husband was like number 3. He has a great sense of humor. I had James laughing at some of my stuff yesterday. And he's helping me with the price of this iPad. Isn't that wonderful? I love him so much. Like I say, I just love his socks off. He's a doll. He's a handsome 82-year-old. And he's working. Gonna let you go. Walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. And I'm doing the best I can. Love you. Bye-bye.